So this was so much fun. I have a 5-year-old daughter. I can't wait to take her to see this.
Oh,
and
cool.
Covering these things, and especially kids' movies, and coming in and having to go, yeah, so tell me about your character. But this was actually not only a lot of fun, but for me, it's right in my generational wheelhouse, because I had Atari as a kid. I had Nintendo through middle school. I had like the subscription to the Nintendo Power newsletter that later became the magazine. But all of that said, I thought it was really a great story about transformation and the idea that even for kids and adults, like you don't have to be stuck wherever you think you might be stuck.
Yeah, and also about just self-acceptance, about recognizing like who you are is good enough. Who you are, you don't need to rely on other people's perceptions of who you are to be happy yourself. You just accept who you are, and I think that's the process that Ralph goes through in the movie.
And I thought it was great too that they, in some ways, matched the avatars for these characters to the voice actors. And did that?
Well, that ends up happening, I think, gradually through all animation processes. I think that's one of the reasons that they film us when we're recording the voice, so they don't have to guess when they're just listening to the audio. They can actually see our faces if we raised our eyebrows or how we expressed with our faces. So I think that's kind of a natural symbiosis that starts to happen over time. I don't have an underbite like Ralph.
That gives him the lovable lugs.
So we're very different for that reason. Yeah. I also don't weigh 943 pounds. Yeah. You have pretty big hands, though.
After you see the candy spread they have in there, you might weigh 943 pounds afterwards. Yeah, it's a good time.
It's not let me go by the candy display yet.
You got to wreck it. You got to wreck your way in there. So I also really connected with the idea that because as a kid I would always think about the arcade and what happens there at night, or those types of ideas of these sort of other worlds your imagination could create, or whether it was like your favorite movie or TV show.
What if you were playing an Atari game in the early days?
Fill in the blanks.
It's like so simple. You're like, I don't know. I used to love those games, and I think that's why they were initially so popular, because you had to fill in so much information in your imagination.
And did you have that sort of imagination as a kid? I can only imagine with your career.
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of plays as a kid. I was doing theater from an early age, but I did spend quite a bit of time in front of that Atari console. I didn't have one. I'd have to go to my friend's house to play. So, yeah. Spent many hours and a lot of money, frankly, on games like Space Invaders and Pac-Man. Defender.
I love in the movie that there's the kids who just have the rolls of quarters who are like, nah, get out of here. We're going to be sitting here all day.
Those are always the most annoying guys. Guys that were really good at a game and had a lot of money. They would just line up the quarter and be like, dude, come on. Got to be home for dinner in 2 hours. There's no way I'm going to get to play.